Hi, guys. It's Ron Strong. It is another week of the Mountain Meditations Crochet Along, and I'm super excited to be here. This week we have blocks 9 and block 10. Block 9 is a really cool study in shells and texture, which I love. Block 10 is a really, really cool way of using some new to you, maybe new to me, Tunisian crochet stitches and 4 different colors that really help the different blocks in this blanket come together. So we're going to dive into both of those. I'm very, very excited. Remember, if you're not a subscriber, to subscribe. Make sure you like this video. That always helps kind of get the video out there to other people. It's a really quick and easy way of sharing the love of crochet and the love of this community. You can also subscribe to my Substack, which is down below. It's $5 a month, but you get at least one new free blanket pattern every single month. I don't talk about it a whole lot on here, but it is linked down below. You can find links to all my kits, especially the Mountain Meditations Crochet Along kit. I also have a few others that are coming. And some I'm really well, I'm excited about them all, but a couple I'm very, very, very excited to share you. I have a mosaic mandala that's coming out soon, and it's based on the chakras, and it's just crystals and all the things I love. It's going to be there. It's really, really cool. So I can't wait to share that with you. But yeah, you can find everything kind of linked down below. So without further ado, let's get stitching, shall we? All right, so for square number 9, the river gorge block, we're going to start with our standard crochet hook and Bryce Canyon, which is our yellow color here. We're going to begin by chaining 46. Once you've chained 46, you can begin on row 1. We start out on a wrong side row. So we're going to work 3 double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook. So 1, 2, and 3. We're going to skip the next 3 chains. So 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to single crochet in each of the next 7 chains. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Then we're going to skip 3, and into the next chain we're going to work 7 double crochet, all into the same chain. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Then we'll just repeat that across. So skip 3 stitches, single crochet in each of the next 7 chains. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 'Then we'll skip 3, and work 7 double crochet into the same stitch. So you'll repeat that all the way across, and you're going to end your last repeat with 4 double crochet in the last chain. So we want it to end just like we began. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll skip 3. Then we'll single crochet into each of the next 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Skip the next 3 chains, and in the very last chain, work your 4 double crochet. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And that is your row 1. So it should look just like that. Okay. All right, so I did have to change crochet hooks because that other one was bugging me. So when you get to your very last stitch, you're going to go down until you have just 2 loops on your hook. You're going to grab your next color, which is this King's Canyon here, the green color, and then we're just going to chain 1. Now we're going to start working our rows in pairs, which means we'll work one right side row and then another right side row. And the way we do that is simply by working one color all the way across and another. So we're going to, first on row 2, we're going to just single crochet in each stitch across. So these rows, your even rows are going to stay pretty consistent. You're just going to single crochet in each stitch across. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. When we come back, we'll be ready to work our next row. All right, so I've made it to my last stitch. I'm going to single crochet in the top of that beginning chain 3, and then I'm just going to crochet and I'm going to leave a loop there, okay? I'm going to chain and leave a loop there. Then I'm going to go back to my beginning. I'm going to find that very first stitch I made and I'm going to insert my hook. I'm going to grab the yarn that we ended the last row with, and then I'm simply going to yarn over my hook and pull through, okay? Now we're all set up to work our next row using this color. Next, I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to single crochet into the same stitches join, and then each of the next 3 stitches, so 4 total. Then I'm going to skip the next 3, and into the 4th single crochet, I'm going to work 7 double crochet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Skip 3 stitches, and into the next one, we're going to work a single crochet. So we do 7 single crochets in total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Skip 3. Into the next one, 7 doubles. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay? Skip 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Skip 3 into the next one, 7 double. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now we're going to skip 3, and then we're going to single crochet in the last 4 singles. So 1, 2, 3. Now the 4th one is going to have this loop, so I'm going to hold that loop, going to insert my hook and pull up a loop. So I have 2 of the last color. Then instead of pulling or just kind of pulling through, I'm going to insert my hook into that loop that we left on there. And then I'm simply going to pull that through. Okay. Then we chain 1 and turn. So now we are all set to work the next color. For that, again, I'm simply going to single crochet in each stitch across. So you can see that every row that's done with the green, it's just single crochets. And then every other row begins with double crochets of the yellow. And then every other row after that, we start with single crochets. So if you look at the photo that's included with your pattern, you'll see that the shells are a little offset. And well, they're not a little offset, they're completely offset. And so that's what you want it to look like every time. A really good rule of thumb is that because we're working in sevens, that center stitch is where you should work your next set. So let's say you're doing a the 7 double crochet shell, that should go in the fourth single crochet of that single crochet group. So as I finish this, I'm going to go back and I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. So that way it's not too confusing. All right, so now I've come to the end. Again, I'm going to just leave that loop there. Okay, so what I'm saying is you can see that there's a set of 7 singles right here, right? And they're very clean or very clear to see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So now I know on my next row that I work with this yellow, my shell is going to go into this stitch here. It's going to go into the fourth of this 7 single crochet group, which I know is right here. Okay. So anytime I feel like things are off or they're not working, I can always go back and find that 7 single crochet group and then find that fourth single crochet and know exactly where my stitch is going to go. If it's easier for you, you could also go ahead and mark the stitch to make sure that you're right where you need to be. Okay. So this entire square is very simply just the repeat that I showed you. You change colors every other row and you work 2 right side rows followed by 2 wrong side rows. Now you want to work this until it measures 11.5 inches in length. Note that this is very stretchy and you're going to stretch this quite a bit when you block it, which is why blocking this is so important. So this is what it looks like blocked. And this is what it looks like unblocked. You can see there's a pretty big difference. The reason blocking is important is because it sets our stitches. I've had a lot of people say over the course of this crochet along, Ron, I've been crocheting for 20, 30, 40 years and I've never blocked. And that's fine, but this block has to be blocked. You have to steam this block. If you do not steam this block, it will cause your blanket to pucker. If you do not steam this block, your blanket will not turn out the way it's supposed to. So if you are adamantly against steam blocking, skip this block. Make another block that's your favorite and use that, okay? Just simply washing and drying this will not set it how it needs to set, okay? Very, very important. So do your border. Make sure you have the same number of stitches as all the other squares so that way you can have this really nice border or this really nice seam here. And yeah, let's go ahead and move on to square 10. So square 10 is the spring blossom block. This has a few different stitches in it, including a Tunisian slip stitch and a Tunisian cross stitch. We're going to be juggling 4 different colors, and you can see that there's kind of a striped sequence. So here you can tell that the kind of this stitch here is done in cream and this stitch here is done in green. But at this point here, that stitch is done in cream or green and this one's done in cream. So they just are mirrors of one another and it goes all the way up the block. You'll be able to see this much more clearly in the photo that's provided in the pattern. We're going to work on this. We're going to take our time, and I'm going to do a smaller snippet than the entire block because it's a little bit easier to see for both of us. So let me go grab my Tunisian crochet hook, and we'll get started. All right, so we're going to begin our spring blossom block with our Tunisian crochet hook. Now I'm going to go ahead and crochet a smaller amount than what the pattern calls for. All right, so for our foundation row, we're simply going to work our typical foundation row. So I picked up a stitch in every chain across. Again, you should have the same number of loops as you have chains. Then I'm going to chain one, and then I'll yarn over and pull through two all the way across. All right, now we're going to move on to row two. So our row two is a Tunisian purl stitch. So it's a seed stitch kind of worked across. We start with the Tunisian purl stitch. So to do that, we bring our hook behind our yarn, then we insert our hook from right to left as if we're doing a Tunisian simple stitch. Then we yarn over our hook and pull through. That's a Tunisian purl stitch. So you can see it kind of makes a little bit of a purl bump there. Then we'll work a Tunisian a Tunisian simple stitch. Again, for the purl, we go behind, through, around, simple, purl, simple, purl, simple, purl, simple, purl. Now we're going to end with two simples. Now we're going to chain one and then yarn over, pull through two all the way until the end. So that's typically what's called seed stitch in Tunisian crochet. It's just alternating purls and simple stitches. If you work it a lot, it gives you a really cool texture look that's really reminiscent of honeycomb. We're going to switch it up and do a couple different things. So for the next one, we're going to work Tunisian simple stitch in each stitch across. So we just pick up a loop in each of the vertical bars. And then when we get to the very last stitch, we go into it. So remember, every last stitch has a little bit of a V. We go into it with our hook and we yarn over and we pull up a loop. So everything kind of should look like this at this point. So now that I've reached the end of our row three, I'm going to grab our Bryce Canyon, which is our yellowish color here. I'm going to grab it with my hook and I'm just going to drop the pink, but I'm going to keep it on. I'm not going to cut it off. So for this, I'm going to chain one and then pull through two. So I'm going to work a standard return pass with this mustard yellow color. All right. Now we're going to work one of our newer stitches, and that's called a Tunisian cross stitch. So to work a Tunisian cross stitch, we're very simply going to skip the next vertical bar, and then into the next vertical bar, we're going to insert our hook from right to left and pull up a loop. Then we're going to insert our hook from right to left under the skipped bar. So we kind of work back, find that skipped stitch, insert our hook there, yarn over, and pull up a loop. So we skip one vertical bar, insert our hook into the next and pull up a loop, go back into the the skipped stitch and pull up a loop. Skip one, work a Tunisian simple, go back, insert and pull up a loop. Pull up a loop. And then the very last stitch, we're going to insert it into that V. So there's our V, insert our hook and pull up a loop. Okay. Now we're going to grab our cream color, our Acadia. And again, we're not going to cut any yarn. We're going to grab our Acadia and we're going to work a return pass. So we chain one Then we pull through 2 all the way across. All right. Next, what we're going to do is work a Tunisian slip stitch and a Tunisian simple stitch repeated all the way across. So how do we do that? Well, a Tunisian slip stitch is really easy. We just go into the vertical bar from right to left and we leave it on the hook. We don't do anything with it. We just leave it there. So then we go into the next stitch and pull up a loop, into the next one, and then into the next one and pull up a loop. So see how that's staying on our hook like that? We go into the next stitch, leave it on our hook, into the next stitch and pull up a loop. Into the next and leave it, into the next and pull up a loop. Into the next and leave it, into the next and pull up a loop. Into the next and leave it, into the next and pull up a loop. And then when we get to our last stitch, we insert it. And it can get a little messy, so we want to try to do our best to make sure everything stays as neat as possible. And we pull up a loop. Okay? So it should look something like that. Next, we're going to join our green color. Now this does take a little bit of yarn management, but I promise it's not terrible. We're going to pull through 2 and then just work our typical return pass. I said we should pull through 1, not 2. So you just work your typical return pass. Perfect. Now you'll notice, like I said, this side of your work does tend to get a little messy at the beginning, but as we move up and as you start picking up these yarns again, they will start to tighten up. Okay, so we're going to go back to the beginning. We're going to work our row 6. To do this, we're going to repeat what we did before, which is a Tunisian purl stitch, then a simple, a purl, and a simple, purl, simple, purl, simple, purl, simple, purl, simple, and then into our very last stitch, we'll work our last one. Okay. Now we're going to work a typical return pass with capital reef, which is our pink color. So to do that, we're going to let all of these yarns kind of hang out where they need to go. I'm going to find our pink, which is right here. Then I'm going to grab that and I'm going to give it a little tug. I'm not going to do anything crazy, but you can notice there that if I pull too tight, it's going to make these stitches a little too tight. And then your edges are not going to be as clean as they can. So I'm going to pull through there. And so this is going to tighten this stitch up down here and really help everything start to come together. And like I said, every single time you use one of these colors, it starts to straighten up. So I'm going to work my return pass. So now I'm simply going to Tunisian simple stitch in each stitch across. So you'll notice we're kind of repeating the pattern already, but we're going to switch up the colors a little bit. So I get to the end here, I'm going to go into that very last stitch so we can see how things are turning out. Now we need to grab that capital reef, which is our yellow color. So again, I'm going to find it on the back where it's attached. I'm going to grab it, I'm going to give it a little tug so that way it's nice and even there on the edge. Oops. And I'm going to work a typical return pass. Now I'm going to do just what we did before with our crossed stitch. So to do that, we skip one, go into the next vertical bar, pull up a loop, and pull up a loop in the vertical bar we skipped. So you're just going to repeat that all the way across. Then we get to the very last stitch, we go into it and pull up a loop. So now here's where things are going to work a little different. In the first half of this, we went ahead and grabbed our cream color and worked our return pass. But instead, we're now going to grab our green and work our return pass. So what this is going to do is just switch everything up just a little bit. So we're going to find our green color, which is here. And again, give it a nice little tug. And we yarn over and pull through and work our standard return pass. All right. Now I'm going to go ahead and work the Tunisian slip stitch and simple stitch pattern. So again, we go into the stitch and leave it on the hook, go into the next vertical bar, pull up a loop. We do that all the way across. So through the slip, into the next vertical bar, we pull up a loop. Go through the first vertical, into the second, and pull up a loop. Through the first, into the second, and pull up a loop. Through the first, into the second, and pull up a loop. And then into the very last stitch, we pick up a loop. Okay? So that is one full pattern repeat. Now, we're going to next grab our Acadia. And I'm going to work a return pass. But again, you can see that the loop there is pretty big. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten that up. Just give my work a little tug there to make sure everything's good. And work my typical return pass. All right. So that is fully our first full pattern repeat. So I'm going to grab our block and compare them. All right, so you can see here, the pinks aren't really matching because they're different dye lots, but what I've done is just match that up. As you continue, I've worked the first couple of rows right here, and I worked the return pass there. But you can see how doing it this way really does match up, and it gives you a really cool effect by just swapping out the colors, not changing the stitch, but changing the orientation of the color as we work it. It's a really, really great way to get a lot of Tunisian crochet just effect without having to do a ton of work. Now, this block does have a tendency sometimes to get a little wobbly, to not be as straight as it needs to. So give it a good blocking. Like I said, with the last block, this needs it too. Okay. Okay. That was it. Super easy, super, super fun to do. As you can see with the first block, so much texture, so easy to do. And it's just like changing colors. And honestly, you'll have enough yarn left over that you could probably do another block in like different colors. I also thought, wouldn't this be cool if you did a bunch of these blocks and put them all together and did them in different colors? I think that would be really cool. Somebody should do that and then send me photos because I don't have time, but I really want to. And then my favorite little Tunisian block. I love this block. I think it turned out so well. And it's just so pretty and really easy to do. And I got to try out Tunisian simple stitch, which I had never tried before, but isn't it easy? It's like the easiest thing. It's so crazy. Who would have thought? Just like put your hook under there and leave it. Crazy. But all right, that's all I have. I just made my hair super crazy. Keep using that word, and I don't mean to. But anyway, yeah. Okay. I thought there was something else, but I hope you had fun this week. Next week, we have blocks 11 and block 12. It's our last week of crocheting blocks, which is wild. And then we'll focus on joining and working our border and blocking and all that amazing stuff. So if you have been following along, if you've been crocheting along with us, which I hope you have, make sure you drop some comments down below, and make sure you follow me on Substack, on Instagram, on all that good stuff. Everything is linked down below. Yeah. Until next time, friends, happy stitching, happy meditating, happy everything. I love you all so, so much. And I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful week. Bye, friends.